Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we are in the main bay today. We'll be headed out to the truck shortly, and that is because we have to get that thing cleaned up because we need to take it in for some paint work. I think I'd mentioned this in the past, and we need to get the truck cleaned up for two reasons. One is we've been driving a lot recently. You guys will see a majority of an empty bay over here. You guys know that we sold the SS. I had a ton of inventory of parts left over from the SS. So I'll include a picture here. This is kind of what we had in the bay. These are miscellaneous Corvette, SS, no truck parts, but Corvette and SS parts for sure. And if you guys could see it now, obviously there's nothing here. These are just some empty boxes in a future project. But yeah, so we have been driving everywhere and everywhere. If you guys saw the ZR2 video with the sports bar, we drove out to Greensboro for that. And the day after we got back from Greensboro, I drove out to Asheville to sell a set of the Corvette Z06 brakes and what else? And kind of all over Charlotte selling some more parts off the SS. So we're finally down to not much parts left over from the SS, just a couple parts there. And yeah, so just a lot of transportation. And the second reason we need to clean up the truck is because I need to take the car in for an estimate for some hail damage. You guys might be wondering, well, when did you get hail damage? Well, we were at my parents' house in South Carolina. I'll include pictures here. And we got nailed with a microburst. I've experienced this in the past before when I lived in the Midwest. It's just a highly concentrated storm, severe downdraft, and a lot of hail. Well, unfortunately, the truck was there, parked outside, and we got a bunch of damage. So I will show some of that when we clean up the car. But yeah, so I need to take the truck in for an estimate. We're gonna do the PDR first. And if all of the dents can't be pulled out with PDR, we're gonna have to go the traditional route, you know, pull the dents out, skim coat, filler, paint, clear coat, all that stuff, you know, the traditional body working process. The only good thing is we're taking it to one spot for both. My paint guy, Tim, you guys have seen projects with him. He did the Corvette bumper. I'll have that video up above. He has a PDR guy that comes in, does his work there, and they kind of farm stuff to each other. So hopefully we can get all the dents out with PDR, but if not, Tim's going to have to paint minimum of the hood and the roof. That's kind of where the worst of the damage is, but there is some damage on the fender and the bedside as well. So alright guys, you just saw us wash up the truck, and this wasn't a super deep cleaning. I just wanted to get it clean enough so that the paint was clean. You know, I didn't really focus on the wheels or the trim or windows or anything like that. Just want to make sure all the body parts that will be fixed are pretty clean so that they don't have any issue, you know, trying to inspect it tomorrow with the PDR. And if there's more than PDR, they're also going to have to do regular paint. So, you know, like I said, wanted to get it as clean as possible. And yeah, so we're going to take the truck in tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to drop it off and leave it. I don't know if we're going to drop it off, stay, have them do their stuff, then come home. That hasn't really been discussed. So we'll figure that out tomorrow and update you guys with what the situation will be. I don't intend on getting a rental car until I actually drop it off for the body work. I have a feeling that we're going to do the inspection tomorrow, see what they say, and then potentially do the body work. I don't know, in however many weeks it's going to take, because I'm sure the shops are backed up because, like I said, Charlotte area's been getting a lot of hail, especially down in South Carolina. So, and here you can see the dent. It's so subtle, I have to point this one out, and also there's another one in the fender that I'm also pointing out as well. Alright guys, you just saw the beginning of this video. I actually filmed it back in June of 2024, and it is now September of 2025. We've had a lot of stuff go right, a lot of stuff go wrong since then. And yeah, so basically right now, we are driving into Charlotte to go get the truck inspected, and then we're dropping the Silverado off so that we can finally get that paint damage, the hail damage, and a couple door dings fixed. When I had that quote done a year ago, it was basically going to be about $1,200 for the PDR. Well, I've gotten a couple door dings since then, and also the hood. I didn't cover this in the earlier part of the video, but the hood is going to get fixed as well, because Chevrolet, for the 22 and 23 Silverados, they put the hood scoop too tight against the paint, and I'm not sure if you guys can see that right there in that corner, but basically the paint starts to chip up around where the hood scoop is. So yeah, we're gonna have to get that fixed as well. Now, I went to several dealerships a while ago to try to get it fixed, and they basically gave me the runaround. I was like, they're like, yeah, you have to go to a dealership with a body shop. Went to a dealership with a body shop. They're like, yeah, I don't know if we'll get that approved. And finally, I just kind of reached out to them. I'm like, hey, what if I have my guy fix it and then do a charge back to GM, just to have them, you know, pay him? But unfortunately, the dealerships were not willing to work with us. And now, basically, it's been so long that my bumper to bumper is gone. And the other thing is, there's like a bunch of dings on the hood from the hail damage. So we might end up having to fix the hood anyway, and you know, Chevrolet wasn't gonna fix the hood for the hail damage and do the hood recall all at the same time. So now we're just gonna kill two birds with one stone, have the PDR guy do his work, and if there's anything that needs to be fixed in the hood, it'll get fixed along with the seam around the hood vent. So yeah, a lot of me not having my car. That's kind of been the latest story. A couple videos ago, you will have seen them do the engine recall work. Basically, they scanned it, changed the oil, put ZR2 in it. So that was like a week without my car, like 4 days without my car. And I don't know how long this is going to take between the inspection and paint work on the driver's side and the PDR work and all that. So the good thing is, I'm actually going out of town for over 2 weeks, starting Friday. Today is Wednesday, so they're gonna have my car while I'm not home, and that's kind of works out perfectly because, you know, I don't need it. I don't need a rental while I'm out of town. So hopefully, you know, I get back from my vacation, we can pick up the truck. It'll be done, hopefully, and we'll go from there. So let's go to the inspection, and then we'll drop this off at the body shop. Hey guys, as you can see, we are in the Silverado. I just picked it up from the body shop after 3.5, almost 4 weeks. Well, part of that was my problem, part of that was body shop being busy. And in that same time, you guys will have known that I actually just got back from a second trip. We went up to Poconos for the Race Motive event. We'll have that video link up above. And yeah, so I basically haven't been home while the car's been at the body shop. So yeah, I basically gave my body guy basically a month to work on the car, and I really wasn't gonna miss it. And yeah, because, you know, we've been out of town for 2 trips. But yeah, everything looks good. Tim ended up doing a really good job on the hood scoop, as well as the 2 doors. Then they had the PDR guy fix all of the hail damage that was on the roof, some on the quarter panel, I think, and one of the fenders as well. So yeah, you guys could see not really a lot from inside the car, but of course it's raining on the day I want to drive my car home, but you know, it is what it is. So let's head home and pick this up there, and we can go over the cost, you know, the amount of time and everything, and also show you all the repairs that was done. All right, guys, here's the external shots that I promised earlier, and as you guys can see on the door, there's no big scuff on it anymore. Then the spot that was on the D-pillar, C-pillar, whatever you want to call it, behind the door, that's been fixed as well. And then you can see the spot that was on the fender on the driver's side underneath the clear bra, that was fixed as well. They end up being able to fix that without having to pull the clear bra off, so that piece is good to go as well. Then the second to last fix is the spot that was behind the 6.2 liter blackout badges that I put on like 2 years ago. And when I put that on, I actually peeled up some of the paint, so that's been fixed. And yes, you guys will notice that it does say 6.6 liter. And for the last fix, you guys really won't be able to see it, but we did manage to get the hood scoop removed and that repainted as well. The paint was being dug into by the hood scoop because these 22s, the early ZR2s, they did not put a gasket between the hood scoop and the top of the hood, and it dug into the paint. Now you will notice that my hood scoop is sitting higher than most other ZR2s, and that is because my body guy went and found a thicker gasket to put under there, because the GM TSB gives you a link to Amazon. I don't remember if it's a rubber product or a foam product, but it was only 1/16 of an inch thick, and my body guy was like, yeah, that is not going to be thick enough, because otherwise what was going to happen is you get the hood repainted, get the scoop fixed if there any repair needed to be done, push that down, and that 1/16 inch thick gasket can compress, and that will eventually eat up the paint again. So to put a thicker gasket in there, Tim went to Lowe's and picked up some, I think it's 1/8 inch thick rubber gasket material that has like a little loop on it. So what he did was he actually cut the loop off, probably like the top half of the loop, and then he just set the bottom of the hood scoop in that valley, because you know it was a half hoop like I'm showing you. Then he cut the top of that off. He set the hood scoop inside of that, then he put that against the hood, and that's basically how he got that to sit up a little bit higher. And the factory clips were able to go through the hood and clamp down properly without screwing up the paint yet again. So now guys, I do have a TSB number for that hood, but basically my truck is out of warranty, and I tried to get this fixed 2 years ago. I went to one dealership. They told me I needed to go to a body shop, a dealership with a body shop. I went to the dealership with a body shop, and then they basically were like, yeah, we don't know if we're gonna fix that. We don't know if we can fix that, is basically what they said. So unfortunately, time went by, my warranty expired, and that TSB doesn't really apply anymore, because I basically now have a 2.5-year-old truck without a warranty on it, the bumper to bumper, and yeah, the bodywork isn't gonna be covered. So I just bucked up, had Tim fix the hood, and since I had the hail damage anyway, I just wanted to get it all fixed all at once. And yeah, so cost and everything. As for the hail damage, that was mostly fixed by PDR. There was a little bit of the hood that needed to be fixed up, you know, in body work. So that estimate came out to be, I think, about $3,300. State Farm has already paid for that, so we're good there. Everything else, the hood scoop, that door, that C-pillar, whatever, basically the spot behind the driver's side rear door, that all end up being another, it was like $1,700. So yeah, we've got some money tied into repairs, and I was responsible for the $1,700 of that, and that's basically getting the hood scoop fixed, repainting the hood, and then taking care of those 2 door dings that we talked about earlier. Now, thankfully, the 2 damages on the door and the piece behind the door were able to be wet sanded out and repolished and buffed. I would not do that repair myself. Tim did that, and I'm sure they had a couple hours of labor. Thankfully, no paint, just, you know, sanding, buffing, polishing, all that stuff. So he was able to get those out very carefully. We didn't have to pay for respray on those, on the rear door and that trim behind the rear door. Now the hood, unfortunately, the hood did need to be repainted. I think Tim told me there were 7 spots, 6 or 7 spots, something like that, where the hood scoop had actually dug down into the paint. And the only reason I really didn't notice is because I had my whole hood wrapped in PPF, like basically since the day I got the car. So yes, there was damage. It was hidden basically by the PPF because those two seams, literally, you know, the one seam ended and the other seam started. So if there's a little bit of paint damage, you know, it's going to be below that seam. And so, yeah, I really never thought anything of it. And when I had some hood damage from the hail and that stuff all had to be removed, that's when they discovered it. And they're like, yeah, this needs to be fixed. So could have I had the hood fixed a couple years ago? Yeah, probably. But then I would have had to pay the dealership to remove the PPF. I would have had to pay them labor for all of that, probably a couple $100 there. And then they paint it. I might not have been happy with the paint job. I don't know. Like, I really trust him because, hey, look, the car behind me has been painted multiple times and I've never had an issue with it. I've even wet sanded some of the paint because I ended up chipping the clear coat a bit, put a little bit of, you know, touch up clear coat on it, wet sanded it, and it took it right out. So, you know, I have no issue with the paint that Tim uses. And in almost 20 years of Tim fixing the Corvette, painting it, we've never had an issue. So that's kind of why I trusted him over a dealership. Yes, I ended up paying out of pocket, but what made that expensive was even more was because, you know, I had a couple door dings. I had the hood scoop that needed to be fixed and all that stuff. So yeah, if you ever have to remove that hood scoop, you will probably see paint damage because I think Tim even said that the plastic had dug through the base coat, through the primer, and into the aluminum metal itself. Now, there wasn't any corrosion or anything like that, but, you know, that is something that you might want to worry about if you keep these trucks for a long time. And the other thing you guys will notice, yes, that did say 6.6 liter on there. That is because you guys know we are building a 400 cubic inch LT4 to put in this thing at some point. So a little bit of a poser right now, but long term, no. And the other thing is that is black trim against a black panel. The odds of you noticing that are pretty slim to none. So, but yeah, the reason we put those on now is because, you know, I didn't want to, I've already screwed up the paint once on that hood scoop. I didn't want to do it again, and I didn't want to have to remove the badges, pay someone to put them back on and all that. Just do it all at once, and we're good to go for whenever we do our engine swap. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the conclusion of this long, drawn-out issue that we've had with the paint on the truck. That damage occurred in like April or May of 24. I had that estimate done in June of 24. And then just because I got busy with motors, the Corvette, you know, racing and all that stuff, I never really had an opportunity to drop the truck off at Tim's. Now, I actually had this scheduled to go in back in May after the Indy event, but, you know, just between Tim getting busy and myself getting busy, Tim got a bunch of work that had come in, and then I got busy trying to fix the Corvette, eventually pulling the motor, you know, the 6 liter, and then we got the 5.3 liter, and that all had to have a truck to drop that off. And finally, here in September, October, I finally got a chance to get this thing dropped off and fixed. So, yeah, haven't had my truck for about a month. And then it's going to be another almost 3 weeks for us before we can start driving this thing on the freeway. The reason we're not driving it anything besides local is because I basically don't want to get a rock chip. You know, I spent almost $2,000 getting that fixed. It was gone for over a month. I don't want that to happen again. I've already made an appointment with, I think it's Exclusive Auto Detail and PPF. They're in Lake Norman. We actually had a Corvette show there a long time ago. I'll try to put a link to that video up above. I think I made a video for that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. So we're going to go try that place out. Usually go to Sunstoppers, but getting a little bit of a discount. And yeah, so we'll get the PPF fixed up, and then we can actually start driving it back on the highway. So, but yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. If you want to see more updates on the truck, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notification. And if you want to help support the channel, check out the links down below. Also, check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Buy any merch, used parts, new parts. We got stuff on there. Check all that out, and all that support goes right back into the channel, the truck, the Corvette, and everything else. So that's going to be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.